Just arrived a few minutes ago at the South Mount Wilcox Shelter, and this is kind of fun because this particular shelter location has two shelters. One is an old one constructed by the Civilian Conservation Corps in 1939, and it's in pretty much ruin. And when you hike down the trail to the shelters, you get to that one first. And when I hiked by it, there was a big old huge porcupine in it, and it was not happy that I was there. And so I just, after I visited with it a second, kept on hiking down to the newer shelter, which is one of the real nice ones with the bunk beds you can kind of see in the background. This is where I'll sleep for the night. I haven't gotten my air mattress or my sleeping quilt out yet, but that's just the ground cover that doubles as my tent protector and my air pad protector when I'm in a shelter. And in this shelter, there are 4 bunks. There's a lower and an upper, and then an upper and a lower. And then if you look up there, there's a whole nother loft that can hold, probably 4 or 6 people. And then looking out, you've got a picnic table down there, and beyond the picnic table is a little fire ring. You see the beginnings of the preparation for my dinner on the picnic table there. And we're going to talk a little bit about dinner preparation on the trail tonight. So we start out with the food bag and the cook kit in the little green bag and the little plastic jar that you'll see what is for in just a minute. Poof, we've got the food bag open and the cook pot out of its little green bag. It has a rubber band, kind of a 4-way rubber band on it, keeps it from rattling in my pack. Inside the that's the lid for the cook pot. Inside the cook pot, I keep a little microfiber towel, which keeps the inside stuff from rattling around, plus I can wipe out my pot. But inside that is my stove, which is the tiniest little stove you've ever seen. It weighs just less than an ounce, and I'll show you how that works in a second. And then inside that, we have the fuel canister and the mini Bic lighter, all self-contained in that one little thing. And as we go, I'll show you how all this kind of works together. I cook my food actually in the plastic jar, not in the cook pot. The cook pot I just use to heat up water. That way the cook pot doesn't get stinky with either garlic from a particular meal, or I don't really want my oatmeal in the morning tasting like garlic. So we take the canister, take the little cap off of it, and take my little stove, and it folds up real neat. But as you fold it out, you can see the pot stands and the valve control all fall into place like that, and then it just screws onto the top of the fuel canister. And then I'll put water in the cook pot without the rubber band on it. I've got one of my water bottles, and I'll talk about filtering water and where the water comes from and how I can stay safe with that. But we'll put most of this bottle of water into my cook pot to heat up to make dinner. And I'm not going to have you sit through the noise of the little butane stove heating up the water. So into the little plastic jar, I'll take a brick of ramen, break it up a little bit, take out the flavor pack. The flavor boils a lot better when you take it out of the little packet than if you try to boil it with the packet in there. Don't ask me how, I know. So we put the ramen in, we'll put the little flavor packet in, and then just to add a little bit more flavor to it, I've got a cup of soup, any kind of flavoring or gravy mix or just almost any thing you can add flavor to it like that. And so next, before we put the water in, we'll take our handy pocket knife and a beef stick. You know, if it doesn't tear good, that's what a pocket knife's for. And these beef sticks made by Epic are actually really good. I'm going to cut it up for some meat in my ramen soup. And there's a trick to this ramen soup. In a minute, you'll see as we go that to add a little bit more calories and a little bit more substance to it. But until then, I'm just going to probably speed up the video while I slice through this beef and get the rest of it going. So once my water's hot enough, I don't need it to come to a complete boil, but because I've filtered it, I'll pour the amount that I need into the plastic jar for the soup bowl and the rest of it into my coffee cup. I have coffee for the evening. Take my trusty bamboo spoon and stir up the contents of the soup bowl. Quick rinse of the spoon, stir up my coffee. And I'll put the lid back on my soup or my plastic jar to let that rehydrate, let the ramen noodles get soft and everything kind of work together. Maybe that beef give out a little bit of its good flavor. And when I get to the part of eating, I'll bring you back. I did forget one thing in the cooking process that I wanted to clue you in on. I keep with me a little bottle of olive oil, and I'll put a squirt of olive oil into my dish because that will add some calories and a little bit of flavor and fat content. I need all the calories pretty much I can get, and just because I am who I am and like what I like, I also bring with me a bottle of hot sauce. I prefer sriracha, but the craziest things going on in the world, a little bit of hot sauce, there's a sriracha shortage. I never in my life would have imagined that there would be a sriracha shortage, but apparently there's a sriracha shortage. Pray for me that I survive this sriracha shortage. Okay, so now we're finally ready to eat. I can take the lid off my little plastic jar and brought my handy dandy chopsticks, give it a quick stir, and then dig into the ramen noodles. Delicious, delicious. Now there's one more step to the process. When I've eaten all the big noodles out of this, it's mostly juice left, and so what I do is add from my handy dandy storage bag the mashed potato, instant mashed potato mix. About 3 spoonfuls will soak up that thing and make it where I can eat the rest of it with a spoon and add again some substance and some calories. I'm not going to make you watch through all that, but it works really well, and that's what I have for dinner almost every night on the trail so far.